Howdy folks, Brian Cusco here at Triple B. Today's guest is Mr. Brent Schulze of Venom Life Gear, and Brent's going to tell us about his idea for why he started Venom Life Gear with his buddy Chris. And man, let's just get right into it. You're watching Triple B TV.
Who doesn't like snakes with eyes on the top of their head?
I mean, I think there's people out there, actually. I mean, I'm not one of them, but they're out there.
Whatever, bro. I like all snakes. I don't care.
So you got a lot going on, man. You got a lot coming up.
I got a ton going on. I've had a ton happen in the last year, and I've got a lot coming up this year for sure, man.
So Venom Life, of course.
Venom Life, yeah, Venom Life. So in the last year, you know, this time we were at Pomona. Saw you at Pomona for the other Super Show, and we didn't have Venom Life yet. We were just Get Hooked Snake Hooks. You know, we just had the hooks. And a month later, when we were in Arlington, we launched Venom Life. We just put out, like, you know, 2 sets of shirts, 2 sets of hats, just tried it out. And that was it, man. We doubled our best show with hooks, just with a couple shirts, you know? So we're like, hey, we're on to something. So this February, that last week in February, this will be 1 year that we've done Venom Life, man. And it's everywhere. I mean, we got people, vendors wearing our shirts and lanyards, and we get tons and tons of support in the industry, man.
Well, you guys are good guys, and Venom Life is doing some good stuff for rescuing, you know, helping people out there in the world. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. So when we first started Venom Life, it was kind of a joke, right? Because it's Get Hooked and Venom Life, they're both based out of Orlando, even though I live in Denver. You know, being based out of Orlando, there was like Salt Life, you know, was the originator,
right? And
then they started out with, like, you know, Hunting Life, and then they did Swamp Life, and they did all these other life things, and I was like, you know, we should do something with Venom. And then I started coming to more and more of these shows. You know, we did like 12, 13 shows the last couple of years, and I was like, man, every one of these places is just black t-shirts with the white logo, or black t-shirts with the red logo, or black t-shirts with the green logo. That was it. Like, there was not a lot of variety. Like, it's just black t-shirts. I was like, I want to do something else. And then I had this realization that most of the venomous guys in particular, you know, all we get is like whatever shirt we got at the last conference, you know? Like, there was nothing for us to wear, like everyday apparel. So I was like, let's do something. Let's start it. Let's just have fun with it. So it's kind of a joke when we first started, to be honest. Right before we launched, we partnered with the Asclepias Snakebite Foundation.
Right.
Met up with Jordan Benjamin, and he has this international nonprofit. At the time was, I think, 9 or 11, you know, world experts. And I said, well, we're about to start this apparel company. Why don't we just work with you guys, and we'll just give you 10% of everything that we do. So now we're raising awareness for snakebite worldwide. You know, working with Nate at M-Toxin's Venom Lab. So we're supplying, one of 4 major suppliers in the U.S., supplying venom for anti-venom, which there's not a lot of people actually doing that. So just in all these aspects, right, we just got all these things, just trying to promote, like, the beauty and how venom, man, it helps so many people.
Yeah,
like,
and they're still discovering the benefits that can be pulled from the venom for
tons and tons of research going on, like, worldwide, man, from Australia to the Netherlands to India and Beirut. Like, they're doing Jerusalem. They're doing stuff everywhere, man. You know, in Jerusalem, they have, like, the Bungarra toxin, the Bungaris. They have the Bungarra toxin alpha. They're doing tons of stuff with that in medicine. Anybody who's on ACE inhibitors, any blood thinners that are made from ACE inhibitors, those are all made from originally Bothrops mugini, Brazilian fertilants. Like, you know, it's just crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
Contortrostat for breast cancer, that's made from copperhead venom. There's just so many things out there, and you know, helping people every day. So yeah, man, we're just out there trying to spread the word about, like, you know, snakes aren't the devil.
Oh, you know? Yeah, no, that's. I
know your viewers, they know that.
Yeah,
they appreciate it. You know,
but it's good to know there's lots of people out there doing that, you know, and you guys are doing it, and to keep doing stuff like that, because snakes got a bad rap. Yeah, and especially venomous snakes.
For sure. You know, and I explain to people too. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like snakes. You know, I don't want to talk to snakes. Like, whatever. I don't do snake stuff." And I'm like, I get it. You know, over 90, I would say probably arbitrary guess, right? Probably 95, 96% of the world's population is scared of snakes, I would say.
Seems innately. Like a fair assessment.
Keep in mind that 90 to 95% of the world's population are in places where they can and will kill you.
Right. Right. So it's a healthy.
It's a healthy
fear
in most places in the world. You know, here it's just mostly a misunderstanding. You know, when I start running the numbers for people and I tell them like, there's about 9,000 bites in the U.S. every single year from venomous snakes, and that includes idiots like me that go out and look for them in the desert all the time, or guys like Nate that literally put hands on them 150 times a day.
And then there's the hold my beer guys. And
hold my beer and watch these guys. There's a lot of those. Those are a lot of the bites, man. Well over 50%. So with 9,000 and zookeepers, people who do this for a living,
right?
And then
they're in contact with them on a regular basis. Yeah.
Rarely is it you're actually hiking and you didn't see it and it actually got you and envenomated. Like, that's such a rare story, man.
Right.
And I work with the top snake bite experts in the United States, like without a doubt. They're on the foundation with us, Nick Brandehoff, and we got Ben Abo, who's the medical director for Miami-Dade Venom 1 and Venom 2. Jeff Fobb down at Miami-Dade Venom 1 is a good friend of mine. So I work with all these guys, and we're getting real numbers. Sean Bush, I see him every year at least twice. So, we look at these numbers. With 9,000 bites every year, there's less than 1% die. And even of that 1%, still anaphylaxis and, there's freak accidents. So it's not something that we really have to be afraid of in the United States. I tell people all the time, I was like, stay 4 feet away from any snake in the U.S. and it couldn't hurt you if it wanted to.
Right.
It's not not that hard,
It cracks me up when some people tell me stories of a snake chasing them across their yard, and sure it did.
When I was doing radio telemetry with rattlesnakes a couple years ago, and I actually tested that theory. I saw one coming right at me, so I just stood completely still, boots, gaiters, jeans, the whole deal, and he literally went right over my boot, right between my legs, and then under a rock that was a foot behind me. I didn't realize it was there. And it wasn't chasing me. It wasn't coming after me. You
were just in the path.
I was 100% between it and its closest point of escape.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating. So, yeah, just trying to be out there, letting people know that these are beautiful animals. They're not anywhere near as dangerous, at least in the U.S., as most people think. And, yeah, that's what we're here for, man. Venom Life. Venom is life, and it brings life, and it saves lives. And that's kind of where the whole Venom Life thing came from, so.
Now, what's this thing that you're working towards coming up here in the next year? What you got going for 2020? So
we got a couple things going on, man. I can't talk about one too much. We're in the process of, we've been working for about 2 years to develop a TV show. It's an educational TV show. And until everything is finished, I can't talk too much about it.
Okay.
But it'll be on main television. And it's going to be pretty much the only show out there right now on any of the major Discovery, Animal Planet, History Channel that's not the whole reality YouTube existential, out there trying to make it sensationalized. I'm doing it for. There will still be a lot of fun, adventurous stuff, expeditions, things like that. But it'll be, I've turned down 3 shows in the last 16 months already for the major networks because I didn't agree with, the plot, the plan. And for me, I got to stay true to myself, my brand, my reputation, and my company. So this new one coming up is going to be all based on kind of telling the truth about these animals, particularly venomous snakes, all over the world, and doing it in a fun, healthy, educational way, kind of how TV was when we were kids.
Yeah.
And it'll still be fun and educational, but it's not going to be sensationalized towards a version of it. Yeah, too crazy, man. So we have that coming up. I wish I could talk a little bit more about that, but I just found out that from my manager that I cannot.
Well, I wish I had caught you before the manager got a hold of you.
Yeah, me too. But no, man. Listen, I'll tell you what. As soon as it's ready for release, I'll promise you that first exclusive on all the details.
Cool.
I'll promise, right? And it's on camera. You got me on camera saying
all right,
it. So
I'm holding you
I'll
down
give you that
there.
first exclusive as soon as
blast this all over the internet and make sure everybody else knows.
I know, man.
Too.
Everybody else, they'll be waiting for it. But the big one that I can talk about, man, is a good friend of mine, Javier Aznar, who lives in Spain. He's done some stuff for National Geographic magazine. He's one of the top wildlife photographers in the world. And I've been working with him on rattlesnakes, venomous snakes, and snakebite in the U.S. for National Geographic magazine for a couple years now. Finally brought enough product to the editors that the editors approved it. So this year we're going to be finalizing that. We'll be doing some travels around the U.S., doing some some collecting for the lab, doing some cool research stuff. And,
nice, man.
And so we'll be doing that for the National Geographic magazine, which will be really, really cool, man. So it's exciting to, like, you know, one of the magazines that I grew up reading as a kid, and like to be able to be in it, you know. And what's really cool about Nat Geo magazine is that it's one of the only real educational science magazines left that are still doing paper. Like, and people still buy them and people still read them. So it's super exciting to be a part of that, you know. So yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, man. With the Snakebite Foundation, we, you know, I was brought on officially about a year ago, and one of the, I say all the time, I was like, you know, the top 15 world experts on snakebite, and I always say it's the top 14 world experts and me. But we're actually launching our full force. So we've been working a little bit in Benin and Guinea and Kenya over the last couple of years, and we're putting all of our efforts now into Guinea. Not only is it one of the places of greatest need for snakebite medicine and snakebite treatment, rural clinics, we wanted to really put all of our effort into one place to show that this model can work without spreading ourselves too thin. So we're putting all our efforts into Guinea starting this year. So that's super exciting for us as well, man. So with the Snakebite Foundation, we actually go to Africa and set up snakebite clinics in rural areas, places that are hours away from electricity even, let alone hospitals. Train doctors and nurses, help set up infrastructure for getting people to the hospitals. That, you know, the clinics that we set up, because there aren't taxis and ambulances and things like that do that. So we help out with all that stuff. We donate anti-venoms and ketamine and syringes and bandages, and really just try to get them to, you know, set up in those areas to really fight that snake bite, man.
You guys are doing it big, man. You guys are doing a lot of work.
Tons of stuff, man. Tons of stuff. And what's really cool is, like, you know, what's really cool for me is that all these different businesses, and I got my hands in a lot of pots, but what's really cool is that they all tie together, right? They got the stuff going on with, you know, with the Venom Lab, and that's producing the venom. That works with Venom Life, which gives money to the foundation, and the foundation does real humanitarian work, saving lives. I mean, these are World Health, you know, global initiatives. In 2017, the World Health Organization deemed snakebite a neglected tropical disease of the highest priority. Like malaria, dengue, typhoid, all those are tropical diseases, neglected tropical diseases. Snakebite is a neglected tropical disease on the same level as those, of the highest priority, actually. Our live snakebite counter here, how many days in are we on the year right now? We're the 4th day in. So our live snakebite counter on our website at snakebitefoundation.com says 50,701 snake bites, 25,351 envenomations, 5,071 disabilities caused.
This year?
1,353 deaths from venomous snakes this year.
4 days into the year.
4 days into the year.
Wow.
So what people don't really understand how big of a deal this is, man. You know, and that's the thing is I'm not saying that people in the U.S. shouldn't be healthily scared of snakes, you know, but this is a real issue, man. I mean, you know, these snakes, they kill or maim. The World Health says over 600,000 people worldwide every year. We know it's probably closer to double that. The World Health says that because that's the data they have. Keep in mind, the entire Congo has no data. Two-thirds of India has no data. Two-thirds of Australia has no data. That's just what we know. Also, keep in mind that this is reported deaths at the hospital. People who just get bit and die at their farm, that's never reported.
Right.
These are crazy numbers, dude.
Yeah, it is crazy numbers, especially for how much higher they are outside of the U.S. than inside the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking
exponentially.
600,000 deaths per year caused by snakebite.
It's intense.
That's what we know. We know as experts, not the World Health says 600. We know as experts it's probably closer to double that.
Now,
we're talking 400 people per day easily.
Why do you think it's so much lower here? Just because we have a lot closer access to hospitals? There's less venomous snakes here? Like, what? I don't think there's not as many venomous snakes. Generally speaking, the venomous snakes that we have in the U.S. are farther away from highly populated areas. You know, is another thing.
Generally speaking, I can't say that the snakes are less dangerous, because if you get bit by one, they're all equally dangerous at that point, right? The only one that really matters is the one that just bit you. It's the most dangerous snake in the world. You know?
That's a good point.
But we, you know, we look at this and it's like, relatively speaking, they're not as bad. Relatively speaking, there's more of them in higher populations with less medicine, less treatment. One of the big issues we have, especially in Africa, is, you know, the witch doctors, the local doctors. They're local healers, as they say. We say witch doctors, they say local healers. You know, a lot of those places, man, you get bit by a carpet viper on their foot. Those guys will take a rusty blade that they've had for 6 years, and they'll cut their foot 40 times and then rub dirt in it and see where they're at in 4 days. Like, that's their treatment. And we know now, you know, good modern medicine over here, we know that Western medicine, we know that, you know, that now you're risking secondary, tertiary infections.
Yeah.
But they, you know, a lot of them, they just don't know any better. So half of our battle in Africa with the Snakebite Foundation is, it's a 3-part deal, right? We have to supply them, we have to give them the proper training and supply them with the right medicine. That's a huge part of it. And then we need to train the rural areas, the local people, that it's a good thing to go to the hospital, you know? Guy out there gets bit on his farm and goes to the local witch doctor, he cuts it, rubs dirt on it, and gets infected, and he's like, 4 days later, goes to the hospital. And they're like, hey, we treated it, we saved his life, but cut off his leg to do it. But they saved his life with anti-venom. Now he goes back, he can't work.
Yeah.
So they sell all the animals, the family loses the farm, they have to move in with family because he can't supply, you know, for his family anymore, he can't provide. So what does the rest of the village see? The guy was fine at the witch doctor. He went to the hospital, came back with no leg and lost everything. Or worse, died. Right? So that's what they see. So in their mind, they're like, oh my God, I'm not going to the hospital. I'll take my chances here, right? So, and and it's so, you know, it's hard for us to comprehend that, but that's their way of life. So fighting that is harder than supplying them with
the stuff. It's
the stuff that we need.
Yeah.
So a really huge part of our initiative over there is not just training locals, doctors, and nurses and setting up these clinics and supplying them with everything they need to do good work, but it's real good, positive, local, you know, education and outreach and educating the locals on why this is important to be done. Because that's the only way we're actually going to be able to help people, you know. And with this large of a humanitarian mission, there's a few other places that are working on snakebite, particularly in Africa. There's some other places, some other, you know, local, well, not local, some other major research areas, you know, in the Western world.
Like Arno down there?
That are doing it. No. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I just know with what we're doing, we're the only ones that are putting like the real boots on the ground over there for 8 weeks. You know, sleeping in the ward with no windows and no doors across from the AIDS patients, like in the same building, you know. These guys are going over they're taking the malaria pills, but they've all been sick from all kinds of stuff over there. Like, you know, our guys are doing the boots on the ground work and working day to day, sun up to sundown, training these people on good snakebite medicine. So it's super excited to be a part of it, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
And I don't even, you know, want this to be the whole
it's
segment,
good,
but
I'm glad you're doing it, man. And I'm
super passionate about it. I don't know if you could tell. Like,
yeah, man. It's good. You need to be. What would it be if you weren't?
I love it. Yeah, it's true. That's true. I just love it, man. And like, you know, and you know, you can go to the website snakebitefoundation.org. There's actually a picture of there on a kid in Benin, 7-year-old boy, who was bit right above the eye by a carpet viper, an Echis. When he came into the hospital a few days later. When he came into the hospital after a long truck on, you know, vegetable truck ride on there's no cars. When he came in, he was literally within, I said hours. Jordan said, our founder and CEO, he said it was probably honestly minutes of death. And there's some pictures on there of when he came in, swollen, whole face swollen, hemorrhaging from his eyes and his ears, and his gums were bleeding. It was bad. One day after treatment, we gave him a four vial direct push of antivenom. And one day after treatment, the swelling went down, bleeding stopped. 5 days after treatment, the kid went home with his family with, with his vision. I mean, he didn't even lose his vision, let alone his life. And we sent him home with his vision and a new pair of shoes, like the first pair he's ever owned, for $200. Man, like what we can do over there with just a little bit of money is absolutely incredible. You know, here it's $8,000 to $10,000 a vial for CrowFab. Starter dose is, you know, 4 to 6 vials. Most people take 10 to 12. Yeah, I mean, the average snake bite in the U.S. is $175,000 to $225,000.
That's crazy. That's insane.
And you know, you got to keep in mind too, just the ambulance ride is, you know, $3,000.
Right.
If you got to take a flight for life, the other half of the way, it's another 9 or 10. Like, it's a lot of money here, man. For $200, we could save that kid's life.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
so what we're able to do over
good.
there is awesome, man. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, snakebitefoundation.org. That's really where all this comes from, man. Venom Life is fun. I get to talk about venomous snakes and my love and passion for these animals, and you know, the venom expert side, and I love that. But the reality is, I've never started a business that didn't have at least 3 winners, right? So, like, you know, I sell you a good quality hook. You get a good quality hook for a good price. I get the sale and the money. There's 2 winners, right? But somebody has to be the 3rd winner. Somebody has to win there. You know, it's hard for me in business. It's just, I look around this conference, or I mean, convention center right now, and just all these people. I'm like, you know, how can they get a piece of that transaction, right? How can all these people also benefit from what we're doing? So I always look for a 3rd winner, man. And as long as there's 3 identifiable winners, then it's a business I'm interested in. So
nice, man. That's a great attitude, man.
Yeah, man. It's been good. So, and I've known you for a long time, and few years now. But we've never actually been able to sit down and do this, man. So I appreciate you having me on and hang out and talk.
I appreciate you coming and talking, man. It's good stuff you're doing. I like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I love it, man. And we'll have tons of stuff coming up this year too, man. We're always announcing, like, you know, new shows, and we'll have a few new product lines coming out. And this is my dart jersey, right? So we have 8 sponsored dart players around the country now. I play competitive darts.
Oh, sweet.
So
it kind of like ties in a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I got a couple fangs on the back. Funny, one of my logos was a dartboard with the snake biting the triple 20 and the double bull with the fangs. So that's one of my logos for a while. But yeah, it's just a whole nother avenue for me to, you know, get out there and do what I love with my friends. But at the same time, jersey sales are the same thing, man. You know, these things retail at $75 for the regular. If you do the custom ones, they're $90. Same thing, 10% goes straight to the Snakebite Foundation. You know, that's why we do everything we do, man. It's just to drive that, you know, that life-saving medicine, man.
Yeah,
using
man.
venom to save lives worldwide, and that's really what we do it all for. So.
Well, keep it up, bro.
Yeah,
keep it up.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much, family. But I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude, of course, Brent.
Got that snake.
I appreciate you, man.
I don't know if I want to touch it. I don't know if I like snakes. I appreciate you, family.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Guys, take care. Thanks for supporting this guy. He does great work, and he couldn't do it without you guys, so keep it up. Keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing.
You guys should go find Brent and ask him to show you a video of him doing some crazy triple back handspring thing at the hall at one of the reptile shows. Impressive. The guy's impressive, man. Thank you, Brent, for coming on. There's a link down in the description for all of their information. They just started a channel on YouTube right here. Go check it out, please. These guys are going to be doing some awesome things going forward. Next week, we're going to have my buddy Nick Lavera of Lavera Exotics on. And until then, you've been watching Triple B TV. Y'all take care.
Can I hold it? Is that yours? All right. Green Anaconda from Black Pearl. Just play with this while we're filming. Why not? Thank you, Brent.
Got it, man. Thank you, brother.
Well done, dude. It's fantastic.
Good. I just talked a lot. I was like, you didn't even get to do much of the interview stuff. I'm just like,
no, that's not what
Let me handle this.
That's not what I do, man. That's not what I do. I'm just an ear.
Yeah.
That's all I am, is an ear.
Well, I get it.
I'm not here to put in a bunch of my words. I'm just here to be the ear.
I got a lot going on, man. So, and that was just the half of it, right?
Yeah.
We'll have more coming up, but I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
I wanted to come by and talk to you, and like I said, it'll be good too, because I get to promote. You know, I'll get to promote too. When it comes out, we'll be sharing it on Get Hooked, on Venom Life, on all that stuff. So
totally, man.
It'll be a whole new market for you that a ton of our people have probably never heard of you. So
yeah, it's the win. It's the win, man. The win-win.
It's getting crazy upstairs. You're just gonna deal with it.